Okay, so this is order of operations notes. So I know we went over some of this today. In case anybody missed it, I'm going to just go over it again. All right, order of operations. So we started with an exponent review. We talked about how number to a power. We have a base and an exponent. So here in A, 4 to the third power is written how? How would I express that? Well, the base is 4 and it's being multiplied 3 times. So the number 4 is being multiplied 3 times. It is not 4 times 3. So 4 times 4 times 4, if you put it in your calculator, it will equal 64, not 12. Not 12. Okay? So moving on to B, 2 to the fourth power, how would that look? Well, it'd be 2 multiplied by itself 4 times. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which equals 16 and not 8. It does not equal 8. You do not multiply the base times the exponent. So in number 2, look at this equation and what do you notice about the exponent? The number of times you multiply the number by itself. Well, we've talked about the base number. So in this case, it's 5. And the exponent here is the 4. So I'm going to take 5 and multiply it by itself 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And when I do that in my calculator, I want you guys to do 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, and that gives you 625. It does not give you 20, which would be 5 times 4. It is not 20. Okay, so we're trying to get away from that. Write the exponent for each expression. My base number in A is 8. That's my base number. How many times did I multiply it by itself? I multiplied it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So it'll be 8 to the 5th power. In B, my base number is 6. And I multiplied it by itself 3 times. So it'd be 6 to the 3rd power. 6 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 6. And C, 4 is my base number. I multiplied it by itself 2 times. So second to the 2nd power. So that was 1 time and 2 times. Okay, so that is writing the exponent for each expression. Now when I come down the squares and cubes, when you square something, your exponent is going to be 2. So the explanation really, when a number has an exponent of 2, why do you think we refer to the number as being squared? It's another way of saying to the 2nd power. Oops, saying. Okay, and then if something is to the 3rd power, your exponent is 3, it's another way of saying that. Cubed is another way of saying to the 3rd power. You'll hear it both ways. might hear to the third power, you might hear cubed. Same with squared. Okay. It's another way of saying to the second power. Squared is another way of saying to the second power. Okay. Now moving on to the introduction of order of operations. So GEMDAs is kind of how we try to remember this. Groupings, they could be parentheses, brackets of any sort. So if you look at these grouping symbols here, you can see parentheses, brackets, and then these are brackets as well, just a little different looking, but they are grouping symbols. Exponents we've been talking about. So it's that base number with that little number up top, which is called an exponent. Then you want to look at your multiplication and division. It doesn't matter which one comes first, it's either or, but you always want to be moving from left to right. Then you can move to addition or subtraction, and again, from left to right. Addition doesn't have to come first, but you do have to move from left to right. So we're going to do some practice problems, and you need to be writing these in your notes. Okay? Circle the part of the equation that you would do first according to GEMDAs. So if you look again up here, I'm going to ask myself, do I have any grouping symbols in A? I do not. Do I have any exponents? I do. So I am going to be circling that because that is what I would do first, according to GEMDAs. If I look at B, 6 plus 18 divided by 2 plus parentheses 3 plus 10 end parentheses. Okay, so I'm going to come back up here. I'm first going to look for any grouping symbols. Do I have any grouping symbols? I do. I have these parentheses. So this is the operation I would do first. Okay, if I look at C, 3 plus parentheses 5 plus 2, 21, divided by 7, end parentheses plus 10. So again, I'm going to come back up here and look. Do I have any grouping symbols here in this problem? Yes, I do. I have parentheses. So those are what I'm going to have to do first. Everything in those parentheses. That will have to happen first. In D, 9 plus 6 times 2 plus 9 to the second power, or 9 squared, plus 4 to the third power, or 4 cubed. I'm going to come back up. Do I have any grouping symbols? I do not. Do I have any exponents? I do remember having exponents. Now remember, we're working from left to right. So if I look here, this is the first one I see, and that will be the first one I do. Come back down here. Okay, my exponent. All right, E, I'm going to look again. Do I have any grouping symbols? I do not. Do I have any exponents? I do not. Oh, so now I need to look. Do I have any multiplication or division? And remember, it doesn't matter which one comes first, but we must work from left to right. So if I look here, I see addition as an operation, and then the next thing I see is multiplication. Okay, well, that's working from left to right. So the multiplication is going to be the first thing I do. I'm going to circle that. In F, once again, what is first? My grouping symbols. I need to look and see if I have them first. I do. I have this whole expression in parentheses. I'm going to be circling that. That is what I'll have to do first. And in G, do I have any grouping symbols? I do not. Do I have any exponents? I think I do, right here. So I would have to do my exponents first. So I would circle that. Okay, Moving on to lesson 8 and 9, the use of order of operation. We're going to actually start solving them. So number 1, think of order of operations as puzzle pieces. Decide what puzzle piece to solve first, and then replace that piece with the answer to that piece. So here we have 8 squared, or 8 to the second power, plus, in parentheses, 9 plus 9, end parentheses, multiplied by 6, and then plus 3. So here's how it looks with the puzzle pieces. What am I going to do first? Well, remember, I'm going to look for my grouping symbols first, and I have them right here. So that is what I'm going to do first. And that leaves me with 18. I'm going to bring down that 8 squared. Okay, so do I have any more grouping symbols? I do not. However, I do have exponents. That is the next thing I need to do. And remember, it is not 8 times 2. It's 8 times 8. It is not 8 times 2. It is 8 times 8. When I put that in my calculator, I get 64. So I'm going to bring down 64 right here. And I have plus 18 times 6 plus 3. Well, now I need to look at my multiplication. So I have 18 times 6, and if you put that in your calculator, you get 108. Okay, 64 stays the same. There's nothing more I have to do. And the plus 3 stays the same. So now I have this as my new expression. 64 plus 108 plus 3, and that equals 175. Okay? All right, we will do these together. We will practice these together as a class. So don't worry about doing those right now unless you're feeling very confident that you can do it. Please feel free to try these on your own and then check them over and see how well you did when we do them in class. But don't feel like you need to do them. We will do them together. Okay? All right, I will see you guys on Friday. All right.